Okay, so welcome back to Lawrence Explains Online Academic Tuition. Today I'm going to get back to the Macbeth series, and we're going to take a look at Act 2, Scene 3, specifically the betrayal of Banquo. So this is really where it happens. So let's just get straight into the text. This is Act 2, Scene 3, and we have here the two murderers, or I think it's three murderers. Yeah, three murderers. Banquo himself. Second murderer, alight, Fleance and Banquo. Enter, third murderer, 'tis he, first murderer, stand to it. Banquo, it will be rain tonight. First murderer, let it come down. They set upon Banquo. Banquo, O treachery, fly, good Fleance, fly, fly, fly. Thou mayst revenge, O slave. Banquo dies. Fleance escapes. Okay, so pretty quick, brutal death for Banquo, really, set upon by these three murderers, obviously ordered by Macbeth. And let's just have a look at a couple of aspects of the language here. It will be rain tonight. I think that's... this happens sometimes in Shakespeare, where the character's facing impending death, and there's a slight touch of humour. I think there's a slight touch of humour there, like, the blows are going to rain down on me, and he's almost upon that, play on words. Mercutio does the same in Romeo and Juliet. When he dies, he says, ask for me tomorrow and you will find me a grave man. So he makes a pun on, like, just as he's about to die. I think Banquo is almost doing something a little bit similar there. There may be other interpretations of that, but that's just my interpretation of it. And anyway, they kill Banquo, treachery, and this is certainly treachery. I would argue the murder of Banquo is a greater betrayal from Macbeth than the murder of Duncan. Why? Duncan is the king. Basically, it's almost part of the deal for a king. You're going to have people who are supposedly loyal to you, or you're going to have all sorts of people gunning for you. You are the king, okay? You have ultimate power in the kingdom. What do you expect to happen? And in a way, Macbeth is just doing what many other people have done over the years, which is just try to dispose a king. In the case of Banquo, this betrayal is much more personal, and this is a betrayal of a friend. This is a betrayal of somebody who's fought alongside him in battle. Just on a much more human level, this is, I would say, this is like real treachery. This is a real betrayal. And Banquo's thoughts are with his son, so he gets his son out of there. Fleance flees, and the kind of narrative continues. So, later on in the scene, we have Lennox, who appears in Act 2, Scene 3, and he has an interesting review of the night itself. Let me just read his speech here. The night has been unruly where we lay. Our chimneys were blown down, and, as they say, lamentings heard I the air, strange screams of death, and prophesying with accents terrible of dire combustion and confused events. New hatched to the woeful time, the obscure bird clamoured the lifelong night. Some say the earth was feverish and did shake. Okay, so what device do we have here? You could say there's an element of pathetic fallacy here, where the environment, the weather, the climate reflects the action. So we've got an unruly night here, an unruly night. Maybe so there's a sense that, I don't know, so just a turbulent night. Chimneys were blown down, so we've got wind there, destruction. Lamentings heard I in the air, strange screams of death. Okay, so it's almost like the air is creating these strange screams of death, or maybe that's a reference to actual screams. Certainly, there's some resonance there. Prophesying with accents terrible of dire combustion and confused events. So combustion means burning, so like there's almost like a hellish pull her up here. And there's almost like a hellish sense here, dire combustion. Combustion, obviously, burning, as I said. Confused event, so confusion. You hatched the woeful time, the obscure bird clamoured the lifelong night. Some say the earth was feverish and did shake, so almost like the earth itself was shaking. So there's the winds, there's the noise in the night of screams, there's this obscure birds, there's like the sound of a bird clamouring all night, so a bird being disturbed. So there's a sense throughout Macbeth that, nature has been ultimately disturbed by the events. Just get rid of this ruler feature. So nature is disturbed. And so we see multiple references to it there. It's quite rich in meaning, that particular section from Lennox. But it's just, this is Shakespeare, to be honest. The language touches upon, different areas and different metaphors and images can come thick and fast. And here we've got the overall one here is, the weather and nature being disturbed by events, so by Banquo's death and by Duncan's death. So that's Act 2, Scene 3, the murder of Banquo, and this speech by Lennox, which relates an important theme, which is the disturbance of nature in Macbeth. So I will leave it there for today, and we'll be coming back very shortly to do a video on the next scene.